Dude, this is the longest time you've gone without saying so. For $100,000. I'm actually impressed.
What's the rest
I think
of it?
you're sick.
They try to take it, I'm getting it back. And if they hit me, they gotta get taxed. I'm making hit after hit after hit, and I promise you, boy, every one of them slap. Hop on a verse and I body it quick. They never work, and it's why we don't mix. I don't got time for the fake, and I swear that I'll always stay real, something they never did. Oh, they saying that I'm up next. I told them that I'm up now. Promise I came for the next. I'm needing honeys on honeys, cause that's what I'm worth. Show me the finish, I'm getting it first. Show me the best, and that's me and my worst. I need that money, I'm getting it now. I'm at the top, but I started way down. I told them hundreds of times that I'm really done waiting. I swear that I came for the crown.
We're not rolling yet, right? All right. What's going on, everybody? We are here at HQ with Gavin, Adin.
What's going on, guys?
And Delaney, Wallace. They stopped by for a lift. You guys are going out to Lethbridge?
Yeah.
Right? To do some speaking, some seminars for the opening of Arctic Strength Gym. So I don't know if anybody in the area is watching this, but make sure to go check these guys out and go there for that. I'm about 3 weeks out from North Americans now, so I had a pretty good little session today. Did some deadlifts, did some bench, did some machine press, split squats. I don't know, it was a whole lot of crap. But then Gavin, Adin taught me how to not look small on camera. Posing lessons, I didn't even pay for them yet. I might later. There might be some sort of request made at some point down the road, but that's neither here nor there. So yeah, I don't know. My training was good. Stoked to have these guys here. What did you get up to today there under the bar, Gavin?
Nothing impressive. We just had some long pause bench. I think we did 200 for a pretty grindy set for 1x2.
For double, 200 kilos for double long pause.
Yeah, but you know what? We can do better.
That's okay.
We could do better. I think last week. Yeah, we can always do better. Exactly. Then I had some back downs, and then we just got a juicy pump. My favorite thing to do.
Which you can see displayed before you. Hopefully the mic didn't
if I'm
just
not
get
taking
crushed.
up, if I'm not taking up this entire frame, then I'm not doing my job.
And Delaney hit a big conventional PR.
Yeah, I don't even know what exactly. What was it?
585.
Yeah, 585. So that's cool.
I don't even know what it was. I just like load it and just fucking do it.
I mean, that's pretty much
It's really what it went. I was just like, all right, like whatever he's doing, like I'm just gonna go until like it gets like way too heavy that Joey will literally fly from California over here and beat my ass. If
I had nothing to do with it, by the way.
So I saw another plate and I was like, I guess we're good. You know,
see where we will.
Moved all right. Might switch over.
Yeah,
cheating,
I've heard
so
that.
I might as well come
You're
over.
talking about some stance switch and shit.
Yeah. I might.
Are you seriously talking about it, or is that just like Instagram?
No,
troll?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, because it depends, right? So like, you have to think about. So it's tricky because as a competitive powerlifter, it's not just how strong you are, especially how strong you are in the gym, right? It's what can you replicate on the platform consistently, especially with a fast meet. And so, my sumo has come a long way, but it looks like that when I am at my most fatigued, currently 730 to 735 is like my cap. When I'm like super beat up, super tired. On the top end, we're looking at 750 plus. The problem though is that sumo can be really inconsistent. My technique needs to be, yes, it's not faithful. I need to be super dialed in, and I do have some injury history that unfortunately lends itself to sumo. And so if my conventional can be more consistent, more reliable, more faithful, we'll call it, then I think 100% I'll probably end up doing that. Especially if like strength wise, I'm on par with my sumo, which it's looking like we might be. Like I just hit,
close, huh?
Yeah. I just hit a triple with 672. I think Saturday, actually, I'm going to try and pull 705 for like an AMRAP and just see what we can get. Yeah, so if I can get more than 2 with 705, that would be a deadlift PR, period.
Wow, that's pretty solid evidence, I would say.
Yeah, so we'll see. But yeah, I'm excited. I don't know. I mean, I also just enjoy it too. I feel like I get a lot from it. I get a lot out of it. And my body is kind of built for it.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, conventional is cheating, quoted by Gavin, Adin.
Yes.
So, And what's up next for you, Delaney? What are you training for right now? Where your sights set?
Yeah. So I mean, we both just got back from IPF Worlds, and really right now, the real focus
How
for
did
me
you do
is.
there, by the way? Did you win the?
We did all right.
Did you
we
win?
Did all right. Yeah, we won.
Did you win?
We won. I won. Yeah,
you won.
Brought over the gold medal. Two-time.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we were fighting on one leg, but we were able to pull it out. And so, like this off season's a lot of just getting healthy. I had like a lot of adductor issues going into Worlds.
Hence the conventional.
Hence the conventional to kind of give it a bit of a break.
Everybody's leaving me alone over here. I'm the only one left pulling.
I'll be back. Unlike Gavin, like sumo is my actual thing.
All right.
I don't think I'm going to actually be pulling conventional for too long, but really it's just getting as healthy as possible, and then really trying to set my sights on Sheffield, and really trying to, do what I should have did this year, and kind of blow up that world record total, and try to come away with some extra cash. And so really Sheffield's where my sights are sated for a powerlifting standpoint, and then just try to earn my spot back to Worlds again. Go run the gauntlet, try to blow that up, and then try to get that qualification for the World Games, because that's the creme de la creme. That's the big thing there. So that's what everything's focused on. Yeah,
he wants all of it.
All of it.
Well, you got a meet coming up, right?
I do.
In a few weeks.
Yes.
How do you feel?
I'm getting ready for North Americans in about 3 weeks now. I feel better after today's deadlifts.
Yeah. So I just saw you do. What was it? Cluster sets? Is that what that was?
Yes and no. It's this protocol Mike gives me where there's timed rest, and the rest is equal to RPE minus 5. So essentially, the first set is targeted at a 6 RPE, which means 1 minute rest. And then the second set, usually the RPE starts to climb, so the rest starts to climb a little bit in conjunction with it. So it's shortened rests, but it's not as strictly defined as like a 1 minute or 30 seconds or whatever.
Dude, I struggle with like calculating my kilos. That sounds like...
Yeah, I mean, like...
I don't even know what the kilos are for anything. So I just put on colors, and I'm like, oh, this looks right. So I can't even imagine, like, timing up the RPE to figure out, like, how
I usually just hit, like, the first set is always targeted at a 6, and sometimes I'll go to a 9 as, like, an indicator set to be like, okay, here's where my strength is at for the day. And then I'll take 3 reps off of that. So if I'm doing, like, close grip today, I did 6 at 9. And then I use the same weight for a triple, which put me at about a 6 RPE.
Okay.
So 6 RPE is 1 minute rest. Time that, hit the next one, and it's like, well, that was harder. So I get 2 minutes rest because it was a 7.
Okay.
Like it just kind of,
So you use like the top.
It was weird at first, and I was like, Mike, what does this mean?
Yeah.
I need it didn't click right away, but I actually quite like it as a way of organizing. Like some more maybe hypertrophy focus work. You're like working with a reduced capacity, maybe some energy systems focus kind of stuff. And it certainly seems like a good way to get a shitload of work in a pretty short amount of time.
Yeah.
And keep me from doing like 5 minute rests on RPE 6 triples.
Yeah. Especially with the IPF speed.
Yeah.
Especially with
be
the
ready
IPF
for
speed.
fast ass meets.
You gotta be ready for the NASCAR.
Yeah.
NASCAR meet.
That's what my question was going to be, because you've been in this for a minute.
Yeah.
So
been around the block.
One thing that I felt like I thought I figured out, and then at this Worlds was like, maybe I didn't, is the conditioning for that fast-paced meet.
Yeah.
This time, I think mentally my conditioning was good, but my body's conditioning just wasn't there. So by deadlifts, like to the point where I was tweaking parts of my body that, like injuries that I had that I thought I recovered from months ago. Yeah. So is there a trick? Is there something that you recommend doing, whether it's like timed SBD days, or is there anything that you have implemented in your programming that's conditioned you for the IPF World Meets?
So I mean, I think back to probably the best example of that was the equipped session at CPU Nationals in 2020, and there were like 7 of us at the start. And that's like, this is equipped, so we're talking like knee wraps. You got to start 2.5 minutes out. So you get your knees wrapped, you get your straps up, you get your belt done, you get your wrists wrapped. Like squatting is a whole ordeal. And the quick turnaround on that, like I had a buddy come to the gym and wrap me during prep for that. But he was always like, he was on a bit of a schedule. He's like, I'm just here to wrap you, like, let's go. And it would kind of like call me if I was resting too long and be like, man, 3 minutes, like, let's go. So I think timing my top sets and getting used to doing high intensity work with minimal rest, like 3 to 4 minutes. And then just overall increasing work capacity, right? So doing more sessions where, I'm hitting 2 or 3 comp or close to comp lifts in a session. And I think that's a function of how Mike has been programming for me for years. Like I will do a bench variation pretty much every day I lift. Like I'll do at least squat and bench or deadlift and bench. I'll deadlift, bench, then squat. And I think even if it's maybe lighter stuff like tempo work or, whatever at the end of the session, just like forcing yourself to kind of go through it and getting the work capacity up overall can be a really big thing. And then maybe even having periods of time or periods of training focused specifically on that quality, right? So it's like, we're not even worried about what weight's on the bar. We're doing like myo reps and we're trying to see if you can get more sets before you get from first parameter to second kind of thing. So just like more demand on the muscle when it's taxed, maybe in like a much less specific way, and then finding a way to like taper that into something that's more comp specific.
Okay, yeah, because that was kind of like my idea. Like I was thinking about not only having the timed sessions, but also having the, we'll call it attempt selections in training mimic, or at least, get as close to what we would do in competition as we would do in training, right? So like the jumps, right?
And then size jumps.
And get used to maybe a different pace in training, right? So like if I know that my deadlifts were going to be shot, then getting comfortable jumping, let's say from like what would be 270 to 320, right? If I can get comfortable with that jump, then I know I can save my gas in a competition, as opposed to maybe having to take 310 and then 325 and that kind of thing.
I think definitely like limiting warm-ups and getting used to doing a little less for warm-ups can be really useful.
That actually did help me a lot for squat. Because I used to do a decent amount of warm-ups. I would go like red, then I'd go yellow, red, like just like kind of back and forth. And as soon as I like cut out like those little two like yellows and just went red, I realized that one, I didn't need that extra warm up, but two, I think I was warm right when I hit my top set. I was like at that perfect moment, and then I could kind of come back down. And again, it just kind of gives you a little bit more energy to save, because this Worlds was the first time I was ever gassed doing a powerlifting meet. Like granted, there's like some injuries to it, but like I was actually still physically tired.
It seemed
and
like,
I was going.
It seemed like that was really a thing this year.
Yeah.
Like the sessions were all like 8 lifters.
Yeah,
or thereabouts,
like
7 or 8 lifters.
And like
and it was later at night.
Yeah.
And like there were a lot of things and ways that I think it was adapted to be, more easily televised. It was like, that seems like it's a lot harder on the lifters. It's just, I guess, unfortunate. But.
It's fast, but like, I think, if anything, like I was more frustrated because I knew how much that taxed me, but we all have the same circumstance, we all have the same conditions. So there's almost like no excuse, right? Because that is now an even playing field. Even though it's shitty circumstances, we all have the same. So if some athletes are outperforming others despite that fatigue or just lack of conditioning, whatever it might be, that means that it's possible that you could be outperforming others as well, right? So that's kind of like a hurdle that you kind of have to jump over and figure out. But yeah, and it is an interesting thing, right? Because it's like, to what degree do we? It's just that balance. How do we make this more spectator friendly while also still making sure we get the best performances powerlifters have to offer? You know?
Yeah, exactly.
But that's why the Sheffield is so awesome, because it was like a solid 4 to 5 hour meet, but it didn't feel like that, and I felt like it was the perfect amount of time where you had all the time you needed to really rest, recover, but not too much where you're just kind of sitting around, and the crowd stayed energized. Like it was a really good strong meet.
Pace
things, definitely like up the flow for Worlds, because now going into Worlds, I'm like, oh, I can do what I did at Sheffield, and then going into deadlifts, I was like, I cannot do what I did at Sheffield.
I definitely felt that way. I remember getting the deadlifts, and like I didn't even start warming up, and I'm like, Joey, whatever we need to do to win this meet, we better do it by our second, because I'm not making it to my third. The third is just for the show, just so I don't, like, nobody said I just walked off the meet, but I know I can't get it now. I'm done.
Yeah. But I mean, it's like good on you for having that awareness too, right? Like a lot of lifters maybe wouldn't have known, like, okay, I'll be fine. Like, you know what I mean? But to be able to say like, hey, I might have some limits today that aren't there on other days. I think that's like a high level competitive way of thinking, right? To be able to admit or to make the call to like up or lower the opener based on like, okay, we're a little worn down now. Like, how do we squeeze out what we've got before it's too late, kind of thing.
100%. I think like generally speaking, as lifters in general, that's one thing that's extremely important that I think will separate like those who start to elevate and those that kind of like stay stagnant, is like being super hyper aware of yourself. So I understand, like Joey and I have this trust where if he's like, hey, like example, Sheffield, he wanted to make a bench call. He was like, oh, go up by like 2.5 kilos or maybe 5. We ended up going like 7.5 or 10. And he trusted that we could make that call, or I could make that call, because he knows that I'm self-aware. So it's like, okay, hey, do you honestly believe that you can do this, or is this an ego thing? And it's like, no, my ego's to the side. I know what I need to do. I know I can hit it, and then we end up getting that. So when you are self-aware, it also just makes the coaching athlete relationship a whole lot better, that they know that, hey, this isn't an ego thing. I trust my lifter to do what he needs to do, but also, hey, he's going to take a backseat and take my advice when he knows that, okay, it's a 50-50 coin flip. And so, yeah, no, 100%. I think being self-aware just helps you so much, because, yeah, it could have gone south very quickly if you kind of readjust things a different way, thinking that you're going to get your third, and then all of a sudden, you miss, and now the door is really wide open.
Yeah, but being self-aware and being like honest about that awareness, even when it's maybe not a positive thing, when it's not like, oh, I'm not like I'm having the best day, like no, not 5, we can do 10. When it's flipped, to be able to say like not 10-5,
yeah,
that I think is more challenging. But
it's an ego thing too. It's hard to like, you're like, oh yeah, I hit this for doubles in training, I did this, no, and then you get to the day and you're just like, I mean, I don't know.
Might be
and then
something
you
different.
want to say 10. Your ego wants to say 10, but then to have that self-awareness and that humility to say, okay, 5, to know is like, hey, we're here to win, not to just, show off for the cameras.
Yeah.
We're here to win. Like, that's a big component to it all. And I think sometimes we get caught up in that. And those that don't get caught up in with it, at the end of the day, hey, when all the bullets are done flying, you end up coming up on top, or at least in a better position.
Yeah. Sweet. Well, I appreciate you guys a boatload for coming by and being on the channel, and being on the stream and all that kind of stuff. And honestly, it's just good to have people to lift with.
No,
I lift by myself a lot, so it's good to have friends around.
It's always fun to have the good energy here. I love the spot. It's a good spot.
Is there anything you guys want to plug real quick? Anything that you're up to? I know Delaney got some stuff going on.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on my side. Keep an eye out. I'm doing a lot of public speaking engagements really around the world a little bit now. And so just keep an eye out for that. Any event that you guys have and you guys want me to speak, please reach out. I'm doing all of that. And tune in for Sheffield, February 10th. We're going to put on a show.
It's going to be big.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what about you, Gavin?
I mean, first and foremost, thank you, because
Absolutely.
I'm very grateful to be here. Obviously, we're here for the Arctic Strength grand opening in Lethbridge, which is going to be awesome. But I'm also really grateful that we had this opportunity to do this first time. Like, we're really kicking it, but also just training and being in the element. It's dope, man. It's awesome. I mean, this is part of the reason why I love doing this, because we get this opportunity. But yeah, so I got a brand new site launching. We've got merch, so posters, apparel, and then new programs and stuff. And what's unique about this is I'm really big on pulling in experts in specialties, people that really, really study what they are passionate about. That way they become experts in it, and we can all come together as a team and create the best solution possible. That's what these programs are going to be. So I'm really stoked about it. I'm collaborating with tons of different coaches to bring those to market. So that's going to be coming soon. But yeah, man, I mean, beyond that, really, I just want to encourage everyone, first say thank you for tuning in, but encourage everyone to just reach out and be a part of the community, man, because we wouldn't be here doing what we do if it weren't for people like you. And I 1000% believe, like, I know every single person here in this room and on this couch, we all believe that we can be great, but we also believe that you can be great too. So don't forget that. Like, step into the arena, and that's what this is about. So again, thank you, and always feel free to reach out.
Sick. Encouraging words. All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Thank you, guys.